स्पोर्ट्स से जुड़ी किसी भी छोटी या बड़ी अपडेट के लिए सब्सक्राइब करें स्पोर्ट्स तक और साथ ही किसी भी नोटिफिकेशन को पाने के लिए बेल आइकन को दबाना ना भूलें।
We're joined by some very special guests, two legends of world cricket. Together they've got about 25,000 runs almost in Test cricket, but this is about a different partnership. They've sort of plundered runs and troubled bowlers. This is their time to sort of make up. They're inviting batsmen, you and me, everyone, for some sumptuous food. I'm joined by Kumar Sangakkara and Mahela Jayawardene. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. First things first, Kumar. I mean, why crabs? I mean, is that something that you enjoyed, or was it popular in the Sri Lankan dressing room, or how did it begin? Because I believe your first joint was in Colombo.
Yes, it's crab is something that we eat a lot of in Sri Lanka. Seafood is something that we've all grown up with. And every Sunday, you know, there are certain households that will actually cook just crab for lunch and really have like this fantastic family meal together. Most of our best crab, when it comes to mud crab, was exported to Singapore. So one of the first reasons why this restaurant came about was to own that ingredient and to bring the best possible ingredient that Sri Lanka exports back to Sri Lanka and have the general public actually enjoy that ingredient in its full glory. So we try and stick to the best ingredients, the best produce, the freshest possible, and we treat it with a lot of love and respect. We cook with a passion. Our chef Darshan is just amazing at what he does, and that's how we settled on crab, and that's how we started the Ministry of Crab in Sri Lanka.
You know, while I'm with you, we should not miss this opportunity to talk a bit of cricket with them. It's a World Cup year, both of you are aware of that. Unique World Cup format in itself, Kumar. I mean, we sort of going back to the 92 format, every team plays against each other and then you get it to the knockout. 60% of the teams are out in the semi-finals and the finals. Does it make it a difficult World Cup to win?
I think it makes it quite an interesting World Cup. For teams, I'm not sure what format they would prefer, the round robin format and then a Super 6 round or whatever, but with the best teams and the tournament curtailed to what the ICC considers to be the top teams in the world, I think the challenge for everyone will be to make sure that they have the strength to get into those knockouts, because once you get into the knockouts, it doesn't matter whether you've been inconsistent or consistent. It's a one-off game to progress from there onwards. So most sides will first want to make sure that whatever performances they put on the field, it'll get them to the playoffs.
There's been a lot of criticism as well, Mahela, the format to restrict it to 10 teams. How do you, what's your initial assessment when you look at it in today's age?
Yeah, I think it's a very tough call. I've been part of 5 World Cups. Every World Cup been played differently. I think the main factor is the time that a World Cup goes on for, whether it's 6 weeks, whether it's 8 weeks. So whenever it's long World Cups, people tend to break off from certain times of that World Cup in different sectors and then again tune back in when the playoffs are happening. So I think it's a very fine line. I personally believe that if for it to be a World Cup, you need to give the experience to other teams as well. Otherwise, we are not going to give them that World Cup atmosphere, especially for the Tier B teams. And that is the only way that you could get them to actually participate and be competitive. I mean, classic case is Afghanistan, who played in the last World Cup, and this year they're a much stronger unit and automatic qualification for the T20 World Cup as well. So they've come a long way in the last 4 years. So I think
and produce some of the best cricketers that you want to watch. in the modern game.
Correct.
Mahela's sentiment on that?
Yeah, I think so. There has to be a balance between how we structure the game going out into more and more countries, and actually how we get them into being top cricketing nations, and whether limiting a World Cup to 10 teams and really making it, as they say, the best of the best playing the best is the right way to go. There's been a lot of arguments for and against it.
I think it's with the way the format is, in the sense if you want to play each and every other, then you have to reduce the teams, because otherwise it's more matches. But if you're playing in groups and bringing in Super 6 or whatever, then you can increase the number of teams to them, at least give them first round experience of a World Cup. So because that is the debate that
experience counts a lot when they go back and they understand what it takes to play at that level against the teams that ultimately go on to the playoffs and to win it. And they take that message back, and actually it motivates them, inspires them to try and get better and try and actually spread the game so that the peripheral teams are playing more games against top quality opposition. Otherwise, it's going to be a long road to actually make cricket a true world sport.
It is what it is, though. So it's what, 3.5 months to the World Cup. If it were to be held now, who are your favourites, you think, to win?
Well, there are quite a few. England's been playing brilliant white ball cricket, although the setback in the West Indies was a bit of a shock for them, but that's been in test, and they've made a very public proclamation saying that they're concentrating more on white ball cricket, and Test cricket takes a back seat. India's been doing brilliantly well, a lot on the back of 3 or 4 individuals led by Virat Kohli, who's really stood up and shone. Australia's been struggling. Pakistan are always dark horses. You never know. They've got a great bowling attack. If they get the totals going, it'll be an interesting tournament. But I think New Zealand's been playing well. So I would say New Zealand, India and England probably edge everyone out.
Mahela, you want to narrow it down?
Not really. I think it's tough because World Cup, anything can happen.
And also the knockouts.
Knockouts as well. You have one bad game. You could get knocked out. Doesn't matter how good the team is. It's on the day how you perform. So even like teams like South Africa, they come into the equation in the sense they've got a young group of players coming through, and everyone's like performing in patches, and all of a sudden if they get it together, they could be a handful, especially in English conditions. That you have to remember the conditions that you're playing. So you need to have the right attack, especially the bowling units are the most important thing. If you can, because I think every team has a good batting group, and the only way you can control explosive batting lineup is with options to take wickets and control that. So that's where the difference is going to be.
The two of you batsmen know that. I mean, in Test cricket, we talk about taking 20 wickets. ODI cricket, again, the bowlers are the key. We are in India right now, so let's talk a little bit about the Indian team. I mean, you played enough cricket with and against with in the IPL and against them, of course. You spoke about Virat. I mean, what stands out? I mean, one is his ability to score runs across formats. But in one-day cricket, he's got this terrific knack of finishing totals, despite the fact that he comes into bat at number 3.
Yeah, I think everything about Virat's game stands out. I think he's head and shoulders above anyone else in world cricket today. And I think going forward, he'll probably be, one of the greatest ever, if not the greatest ever, if he continues the way he does. He has this incredible knack of scoring runs. He's got a very, very solid method that he believes in, and it's very repeatable. And if you see the tempo that he bats at, it hardly changes. He reads situations really well. He's a very passionate guy. You see that with his expressions on the field. So I think it's not just one aspect, it's the overall aspect of both the person and how he's sorted his batting and his attitude out.
What amazes you about Virat, Mahela?
I can't add anything else. I think you have to understand just not the ability but the way to handle pressure, in the sense not just on the field but off the field. The expectations, I think we grew up playing with Sachin, who had to probably go through that same experience, and now the next generation is probably MS carried it for a while, and now it's on Virat's shoulders, and he's got a good group of guys around him as well, experienced players. But I think still, if you ask an Indian fan, they want Virat to score every game. So that is something that he has managed to control really well, and matured pretty quickly, and especially being the captain as well, not an easier thing. He has managed to understand that the captain's role is on the field, and when he's batting, it's his batting role that is very important. So those are little things that defines a personality, and he's been able to do that really well.
Kumar, I just touched upon Virat's chasing abilities. The other guy who does it so well has done it over the years so well is MS Dhoni. MS Dhoni at 37, still an asset. I mean, there was a bit of a debate whether he should be there or not. He's sort of settled it now, and India's banking on his experience.
Yeah, I think when it comes to World Cups, experience counts for a lot, but not just experience that he's close to its best. And I think MS Dhoni will definitely find a place in that squad of 15. Rishabh Pant has been just an outstanding discovery for India as well. So competition for places, whether you're young or old, actually drives you to do better. It just depends on how you look at that as an opportunity or actually a threat. I think MS is very secure about who he is and how he's gone about it, and I think that he understands people very well. So he will understand how to navigate those issues when it not just comes to selection, but also personalities in the dressing room. And I think with his experience, Virat will want to have a very cool head on the field if push comes to shove, and they're in a tight situation in a World Cup.
Your own captain, Mahela, your own captain, I mean Mumbai Indians captain, Rohit, he's got some serious ability himself. How big a factor is he when, puts on the colored clothing?
It's amazing. I mean, naturally gifted batsman. I mean, not many people can change a game on his own, and he's got the ability, and especially being an opening batsman, if you can make an impact right at the top, takes a lot of pressure off that middle order, and especially when you got Rohit and then Virat after that, and then you got a experience MS in the middle order. That gives you ample opportunity to control a situation. And we got so many other talented cricketers around them, and like I said, India's been playing some really good white ball cricket. Their bowling attack has the variety that needs to take control of situations. You got pace, you got spin, but it's a great challenge, but they're really up there. And it's about keeping everybody healthy and facing a World Cup. That's important because you need your combinations when you're playing a World Cup, and whatever the combinations that they feel comfortable with. If they can keep putting them on the park with their best form, they have a great chance.
We're talking of keeping people fit. Jasprit Bumrah is one guy India would want to keep fit. There's this issue about proximity to the World Cup and IPL. How do cricketers handle this? Or you think you can still get into the groove, playing T20 cricket going into the World Cup?
Playing cricket is cricket, modern day. Doesn't matter which format you play. As long as you're playing cricket, it's important. You can't keep guys wrapped up in cotton wool and then all of a sudden put them in a World Cup and ask them to perform. They need to be out there and be in that situation and be able to handle tough situations. That's what World Cups are. So you need to still manage the players, the workload, but at the same time they need to play good competitive cricket. So I think India's have managed their players over the years really well, giving them good breaks, and I think your best players needs to play cricket as well. They can't just stay at home and then come back and turn up. So it's about that right balance, and as long as they do that, they'll be fine.
And last one to you, Bumrah will always be a force. Have you seen him at close quarters?
Always an attacking option in the sense wicket taking ability, especially in the death part of the game where he has a lot of skills and he backs himself to do that. So yeah, definitely a game changer.
And last thing, Kumar, I mean Sri Lanka, obviously not the best of times in terms of their overall form across formats. What does one expect from them in this World Cup?
It's going to be a tough challenge for them, but like I said, most teams will be looking to try and get into those playoffs. So they just need to buy into a really good strategy that they can really execute and make sure that on the day they're as good as they possibly can be it batting, bowling or fielding. If they can compete for long enough, there could be an opportunity there for them to spring a surprise.
All right. Thanks both of you. I know you got limited time, but good luck with your new venture, and
Thank you
let's
very
all
much.
keep watching cricket as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.